got your name on it as a presenter, so you should be good. It's right back there. No, not yet. Well, thank you guys for tuning in and coming to our math warm-up session. Miss Wheaton I'm very excited to hear what she has to say. She's been teaching math for a very long time and in multiple states, so we are very excited to have her.
Is anybody on the committee?
As of right now, let me see. Not yet.
Cool. Increase the odds off your best. Yeah. I should have thought this too. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so I wanted to talk about how I start class every day, because how I start class every day has changed a lot over the past several years. So a lot of times I'll have something on the screen like this when they come in, and then they all, like, they want to talk about it. They just see it up there because they know every day they're supposed to look at the screen to know what to do that day. And then they'll start talking about it before class even starts. And so that's exciting to me that they want to discuss math. So, like, what do you see when you look at this? What do you notice?
Oh, Israel. It's way up there.
Yeah. What is it up there for?
United Kingdom.
They've gotten a higher percentage of people vaccinated. Oh, it's vaccines.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah, look at the title.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta look at all parts of the graph. Israel is up here, and we're looking at administered per 100, so it's percentage. So Israel has vaccinated, as of yesterday, well over half of their population. Where's the United States?
Isn't it 20%, 10%, 20?
The United
Trying to
States is right
read
here. So
We're not
less
good.
than 10% of our population has been vaccinated. And so we'll just talk about all the different things that they can learn from this graph. And then this graph's really cool because you hit play, and then there's all kinds of things to discuss there about what they notice. And so then they can kind of see, like, why is the United Arab Emirates starting at January 5th? Well, that'd be because that's when they started vaccinating people. And it looks like they vaccinated a ton of people on January 5th because they were up to about 9% or 10%. And then this one is really cool. And so they can talk about what that means and kind of see what's happening there. So I just like to start class by putting something on the screen that gets them talking about math.
Are they making the connection to like percentages, the percent of the population compared to what your population is? In China, it takes a lot more to get a 1% than in a place like Israel or UAE.
So those are all things that they could bring up and we could talk about.
And where do you find these, come up with these?
I just happened onto them. Like I was looking up something that I was going to put on a homework assignment and I found this. But I do have some resources that I'm going to share with you where you can find stuff. So that was just an example of how I might start class sometimes. My goals in my class, I want to get my students thinking and talking about math from the beginning of class to the end. I want them to see math as puzzles that can be solved creatively. Build resilience when a correct solution is not immediately found. And build confidence that they can do math. So those are the goals I have for them. And by starting out class with different things that get them interested, that sets the tone to be able to meet these goals throughout the rest of the class period. It's just a fun quote that I found. It does.
The last word.
Understanding.
It does, yep.
What is it?
Understanding.
This guy's an American mathematician, but I don't know what he does. That's all I know. Okay, so these are different places where I get my warm-ups from. And I'll share this with you guys, give access to them. So this website, you can pick the grade level. So they have all the way from K to 12. I just have it bookmarked for 6 to 8. And it's got all kinds of things you can take a screenshot of and just put it on the board and let them talk about it. So would you rather make $50,000 per year and everyone else around you makes $25,000? Or would you rather make $100,000 and everybody else makes $200,000? there's a whole bunch of different ones.
That's what, you guys shared with us 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you went to a conference.
Yes,
Yes.
it was 2 years
Would you
ago.
rather, and then U cubed, or, is
Yes,
that it?
yeah, you cubed was one of them.
Yeah, I've used that, would you rather?
Yeah, so I just can take screenshots of these and put them, and sometimes I can find ones that work with whatever unit we're doing, and sometimes it's just review of something else we've done before, which is, either way is good. So that's one of them. Which one doesn't belong? We might have shared this one with you too. Again, I just take a screenshot, and this one has different categories, so like if we're doing something with graphs or equations, I'll click on that one. And I just take a screenshot and put it up there. And the thing with these is, like, if we look at this one, graph 8, which one would you say doesn't belong? I can make it big.
-2x plus 4 would have a negative slope.
So that's the one with the negative slope. So that's the one that doesn't belong.
There's probably a way that each one of them.
Yeah, they
like,
could
where
be
the y
multiple
intercept
answers.
would be and where the x-intercept would be.
Yeah, so for,
There's a multiplying one, and that's the only one that's not.
yeah, so it
That's
gets really good conversation going because you can make an argument for any of them. There's not one right answer. And so it gets them talking about math. And that's true for all of the would you rather ones. So that's always interesting to talk about. This one, Alex Bellows Monday Puzzle, I don't do it very often because they usually take a while, but this guy posts a new puzzle every Monday. So like this is from January 25th. So this one is replace each letter in the word clever with one of the symbols so that the word becomes a balanced equation. Within the word, the same letter must represent the same symbol. Different letters must represent different symbols. What happens? So you can't have two different letters representing the same symbol. Once you've solved that one, you can do the same with others. So they're just fun puzzles, but I don't do them as often because they take a while. But they are really fun, and the students feel a lot of success whenever we figure out the answers. And he does post the answers, but I never look at the answers until we figure it out. But you can click on the solution if you want to see what the answer is. So that's a fun one. This SD Mysteries is really quick. If you know you've got more to do that day, this one doesn't take very long. And there's a whole bunch of them posted. And it's separated by grade level also.
I
So
like that.
you just click on one and it's ready to go. It's a PowerPoint. So they always just have to estimate how many objects are in the container. So make an estimate. And they love to run up to the screen and like try to count them and stuff like that. And then they get clues that narrow down their options. So it's not a multiple of 6. It is a multiple of 3. You can see 3 digits represented by the visible faces of the die. None of those is the answer. None of those digits is in the answer. So it doesn't have a 2, a 4, or a 6 in it. It's between 35 and 85. And then the last one, did you know that the opposite, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Did you know that the opposite sides of a die add up to 7? For example, the opposite side of the 4 is a 3. Think about the digit that is represented by the bottom of the die. Well, if this is a 6, the bottom would be a 1. And that digit is not the answer. So by then, you should be able to figure out what the answer is. And they love to see who can get it soonest. And then you can see the reveal. But the cool thing about these is that they're editable PowerPoints. And so if you want to change a clue to incorporate a certain topic, you can. Like right now we're doing systems. So if I wanted to, like what was the answer? Was it 57?
57.
So if I wanted to include a system, I could include a system where the X value is 5 and say that 5, like the value of X in the system is part of the answer. So they'd have to solve the system to know that 5 is part of the answer. And when you do that, you would keep the others as really easy. Like these are really easy clues. Maybe you just put one challenging one in there so that they don't feel overwhelmed by it. So those are the SD mysteries. And then I included a link for an interactive hundreds chart. I don't usually give that to my students, but if you wanted to, you could give this to them, this link. And then they can mark off, narrow it down that way. Math mistakes, and you don't have to use this website for this one. You can use your own student's work. You just take the name off of it. You can post something that is a mistake and they have to say why. And so then they like to pretend that they're the teacher and giving feedback and things like that. And so these are organized by standard, which is cool. So if you're working on a specific standard, you can take a screenshot of this and post this mistake and ask them what was the mistake and they can analyze it. So this one, oh yeah, so solving an equation, they know to do inverse operations, but they didn't understand how to do inverse operations. They love this one. I don't know why this one is their favorite, but Dustin, you're the one who showed me this one. It was in one of those newsletters last year that the state of Indiana sends out. And it doesn't matter which one you click on.
I'm surprised they like anything with number sense. Some kids are the worst at number sense.
They love estimating. My algebra class booed me one day because I wouldn't let them do any more estimating. This website is slow for some reason. So about how many pages are in the Rolling Stone magazine. So, and they're comparing it to Charlotte's Web. So something that they have context for, they've all probably read Charlotte's Web. Here's this. So how many pages do you think are in this magazine? And then you go to the reveal and it'll show you. And then a lot of times the next day we'll build off of it. I don't know if these do. Okay, so now that you know there's 78 pages in this one, use that to estimate how many pages are in the everyday math book. So take something that you just learned and it builds off of that. So 203, and then sometimes it just keeps going. It's different number of days for each one, but I'll do 2 or 3 days in the same day. Yeah, okay, so now you know how many are in this, how many is in the phone book, and it just kind of goes through a series of things like that. So they love doing that for some reason.
And when we do at the end of class, where I just have trivia cards that have a lot of numbers and values on them, like what year was the first email sent? And then they try to guess, and then I go higher or lower, higher or lower, and it kind of gets them,
Yeah,
they start narrowing in on it. And they love that.
this one is one of my favorites. Slow reveal graphs. Did we show you this one, Michelle?
What is it?
Slow reveal graphs. And
We've
they're
been doing
always,
this one in 7th grade and they love it.
and they always update them. So they're always relevant. You can always find ones that are relevant. Like, will the industry recover in 2021? That's super relevant. And we all know, why it declined in 2020. And so you click on this slide deck.
Don't put anything political up there because people have some students that will go off.
Sorry.
They have the last name Allen,
That's all right.
and they will go off.
Okay. So like when they walk in, I'll just have this on the screen and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you think it is? And they start, well, it must be a graph. Okay. What do you think it's a graph of? And then they come up with all kinds of ideas. And the thing with this is the lady who showed this to us said, you never say no. Like whatever idea they have, yeah, maybe. Okay. Yeah, it might be. And then see where it goes from there. So then the next slide gives you a little bit more information. Okay. What did we just learn? We learned that each bar is a different month. And we can see that there's nothing in April or May, and it's really low in June and July. So what do you think it might be? And then they'll throw out ideas. Does anybody have any ideas?
Well, didn't you say this was, we already know this is the movie theater attendance?
Yeah, but they wouldn't
Oh.
know. Yeah, I wouldn't have told them that. So, yeah, okay, maybe it's movie theater attendance. Why was that really 0 in April and May? And so then they would have to think, oh yeah, there was,
Soccer season.
or there's a pandemic. Okay, now they've got some more information. So now if they didn't already say something about the movies, now they would know something about the movies in 2020. Okay, now we've got this information. So what do you think this one is? If this is 199 million and this is 79 million, what do you think January was? What do you think September was? And then it gives you some more information. You keep making estimations. Will it recover in 2021? We can have a conversation about what they think will happen there. All right, so then that's just kind of the thoughts on this one, whoever made it.
Your classes all into that solar farm?
No, this one kind of, this one's
All
good.
three of my classes, somebody has brought it up at some point or another. Stay way away from that. Well, I figured I wanted to think it through. Don't just say no because you see the signs. Like, why?
I like that they have
And then I
different
think
kinds of graphs on there too. It's not just bar
Like
graphs.
this, right
Yeah.
here. I don't even know what kind of graph that is, but it's for each day. You know, you can see February's the least. Yeah, that's really cool. I might use this one. I'm gonna leave it open. And then the last one, the last two are very similar. Sudokus, y'all know what Sudokus are. So I just have a bunch of them printed off. And Dustin does it differently. How do you do Sudokus? You just have that on their warm-up sheet, right?
Sometimes, yeah, print it off on them.
Yeah. And just give them time to work on it. And I do different levels. Like I might do a 4x4, 6x6, and a 9x9, and they get to choose their level. So that way everybody can feel successful. And then these, do you guys know what binary puzzles are? Do you know, Dustin?
I don't honestly.
So one of my students just showed me these last week, and it's so fun. I'm gonna switch to a 6x6 just for time. And you can choose your level. So it's a binary puzzle, so it only uses zeros and ones. And there are rules. So
Well, Shelby Lane would love that.
she's coming back tomorrow.
It's Minesweeper.
So you can't have more than 2 of a number in a row. So since there's 2 zeros, by in a row, I mean like next to each other. Since there's 2 zeros here, this has to be a 1 and this has to be a 1 because you can't have 3 zeros consecutively. And that goes for columns and rows,
Nice. But not diagonals.
not diagonals. Also, in each row and each column, you have to have exactly half zeros and half ones. So since this is a 6x6, each row and each column has to have 3 zeros and 3 ones. And none of the rows can be the same as any other rows, and none of the columns can be the same as any other columns. So you just build off of what you know. Like this would have to be a 0. This would have to be a
0.
0.
Each top row would have to have a 1.
That has to be a 1. What else?
Middle, bottom, or between the 1 and the 1 is a 0.
That has to be a 0.
So the one
Which
above
puts
doesn't have to be a zero.
That has to be a 0. So that has to be a 1. And it just kind of builds. It's really kind of addicting. So what else do we know? This has to be a,
0.
that has to be a
1.
1. And the fun thing with this, I just Googled binary puzzle. This is the website that came up. It works if you come touch on the screen. So they can, if you want to do it as a class, they can take turns coming up and touching one square on a screen. Or I just put this link on my Google Classroom and I can say, choose your level of challenge that you want. And they can choose what size of puzzle they want and also what difficulty they want. So you can either do it as a class or you can have them work on it on their own. It's really fun. It's kind of addicting.
Shelby Lane makes her almost.
Does she really? She's never told me that.
She's a coder, and she codes this, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna teach me how to do it.
She's so cool. Yeah, so that's really fun. And then it's like today, one of my classes did this for the first time. And so a lot of them picked 6x6 easy to start with, and almost all of them were successful. So that was exciting for them and like makes them want to challenge themselves more the next time. So anyway, those are the different ways I like to start class. other than just putting up like 5 math problems and they come in and they sit there and they don't do them because they say they don't know how to do it, even though we've been doing it for 2 weeks in class and they have notes that they left them in their locker. This is-
That was my question was, do you find you get better participation than?
I think it sets the
TODs?
tone better for the whole class. Because for years, I did just typical, like, here's 5 review problems, you need to do them. And I fought the battle of, I don't know how, I left my notes in my locker, I forgot, I wasn't here that day, and I got tired of fighting that battle.
That's why she and I have gone, like, just within the last 2 weeks was just 10 minutes of IXL a day,
And
but
they're-
I still feel like.
And they're getting their goal better.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, how do you, so do you do this maybe 2 days a week and then you do iReady, or do you not do iReady?
No.
And when do you do spiral review? Because that is your little data meeting.
Yeah.
How are you gonna review?
if I do iReady, I don't do these.
Okay.
It's either iReady or
Yeah.
one of these. And then for spiral review, I mean, in math, a lot of times what you're doing that day, like right now, we're doing systems. Well, that is spiral review, graphing, writing equations of lines. But I also this year just started doing a weekly homework assignment. They get it on Monday and it's due on Thursday. And each week is over a different topic that's a priority standard. So like this week, their homework is about interpreting graphs. So I took a screenshot of this graph and I'm asking them a few questions about it, and that's their homework. And most of them do it. So that's how I do spiral review. And it's like 3 questions, so it should take them 10 minutes.
And then remediation, how do you do that?
They're not ready.
That's one thing I miss when I
Those
was
are the
just 10
ones-
minutes of iReady, because by the time, like, you take attendance, hand back homework, things like that, I feel like I don't have that remediation time.
I do 23 minutes twice a week, because then that gets them there 45. And that's like time to do remediation. But then I feel like on those days, I miss class time. Like I
Yeah.
do miss it.
That's the one thing I am liking about the 10 minutes of iReady every day. I feel like I have a bigger chunk of class time. Like every day, I feel like we have more class time.
There's so freaking more demands and suggestions, you talk about your weekend and you do already and they gotta get their goals and, you gotta do spiral review.
Yeah,
Just-
it's impossible to do that.
Yeah.
I do not get 45 minutes of iReady every week. I don't. I just do what I can.
I hate it.
And they haven't fired me yet.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But then you hear how good it is for them. I'm like, ugh.
Oh, there was one other thing I was gonna show you guys. This is not what I use for warm-ups, but open middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
What is it?
They use that illustrative, website some too.
illustrated math, I like those too. So this is a bunch of resources that are organized by grade and standard, but it facilitates a lot deeper thinking than a worksheet, and it engages them a lot more, and they don't really realize how much math they're doing.
That is good.
So-
So that on that thing you're gonna share with us, the open.
Yes, so like 6th grade.
There's also a site called Math Talks
I don't know.
that gets them talking about
What
whatever,
is that? What unit are you guys in right now?
algebra.
So expressions and
Well,
equations,
functions right now.
would that be expressions and equations?
Yeah, we've done that. Inequality, we've done that. Expressions, equations.
So what'd you say you're in? Sorry, you're in functions?
Yes.
It might be the, above it.
Not EE.
It might be the proportional relationship.
But that's it. Constant of proportionality, that one. We've already done.
Well, I'll just pick one.
All right,
So finding equivalent ratios. Have you guys done that?
yes.
Okay. So it's always a puzzle. Use the digits 1 through 9 to create 3 equivalent ratios. Each digit can only be used once. And in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you have to use all 9. Sometimes they'll give you more numbers and spaces. So if they're doing this, they're going to do this 10, 15, 20, 30 times before they get the answer. Well, you could give them a worksheet with 20 problems on it and a fourth of them would do it. But if you present it as a puzzle, you're going to get a lot higher participation. There's hints if you need hints. And then there's the answer too. So, and sometimes there's more than one answer. I guess this time there's just one. So I like it. They don't realize how much math, you have to trick them into doing that.
Yeah, I do something like that where you have a blank and then an inequality sign and then another blank and then the other inequality sign and they have to put a certain numbers in there. Yeah. And then others, I give them the numbers that have to be put in there, Yeah.
So, that's all. I can
but they don't get hints, so that's a good online one.
Yeah, so do I share this with them or do you post it somewhere? Or what?
If you want to share it with them in here, but then if you will also share it with me, I will link it onto the YouTube channel page in the comments under this video. If that's okay.
My keyboard doesn't work.
Did you ask your agent yet if that's okay to post your material?
No.
Does that come up in your data meetings?
Send you royalty.
Yeah.
So I hear that's been an issue sometimes. People feel like, well, that's all my work.
I stole it from other people, so I feel like I should collect royalties.
Rachel, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate this.
But some of those people grew up. In fact,